It's funny because this table I use, I got as like a cool dining room table.
Yeah.
From IKEA, even though it's not a traditional table, like I can't tuck my legs under it. They're shelves. It's almost like an island extension for a kitchen.
Yeah.
But it sits higher, and I didn't have to get a traditional thing with. I can just get a couple like higher stools. And then the next day I asked you about. I literally put it together, and the next day I was like, "Hey, what do you think about doing a podcast?" And now this is my podcast desk.
So, if anybody from an amazing furniture company or anything's watching, I don't mind my desk, wouldn't mind a new one. I could use a new chair. And John could use a desk he can actually put his tiny little legs under.
my little Chihuahua legs. Well, that's the thing is like I think it's just a matter of we're getting the guests, and like we don't have our guests that we have are real people. They're not like these celebrities.
Yeah.
So they don't have these like massive followings and stuff like that. And whenever we have somebody with a bigger following, the numbers do a little bit better. It'll catch. I mean, granted, it's 25 of these. It's still not that many in the grand scheme of things.
Oh yeah.
I was watching a link. You ever watch that one Drumeo on YouTube?
All the time.
So they did one where Brandon.
Genius idea.
Oh, it's awesome. They did their. You know what's funny? They only just did their 50th episode.
What?
Yeah, they just did their 50th episode. Yeah,
I feel
and they
like
had
hundreds.
You'd think so, but 50 episodes, and they had Brandon play the drums this time for a song, and I was pumped.
Dude, that dude can play.
Yeah. I was pumped because it's a band I really like, a band called President, which is doing this very mysterious thing. Like they're called President, and I think I know who the singer is, but they won't say who any of the members are. Kind of like a lot of bands out there right now, like Sleep Token does this mask thing. President is another metal band that does a mask thing. And President's only played, I think, like one live show at this big thing called Download. They pulled up in what looked like a presidential convoy.
Yeah.
And but I'm pretty sure I know who the singer is just because I recognize his voice of another British band. But so he actually covered one of their songs, and he never heard it before. And he did so good on it without ever hearing the song before.
Yeah.
But they've only had 50 episodes.
Well, yeah, let me ask you. So that's 50 total among everything they do, because they have like the teaching ones, not just
just the drummers jumping in and doing something.
Just the drummers playing a song they never heard before.
Yeah.
Okay, because they have other things they do.
Yeah, they have a whole school.
Okay. Now it makes
But even though with that, like I feel like I've been seeing those videos for a long time. I was surprised that it was only 50.
Dude, my favorite one so far. Everyone knows the Chad Smith one's just epic.
Mm-hmm.
But Portnoy doing Tool,
yeah,
unreal.
He's the only guy that could have pulled it off.
And Portnoy is obviously, he's actually become a big part of Drumeo at this point. His son was out there. See that one?
Well, I think a lot of the people who are doing it are teachers on Drumeo.
Yeah.
So, but it was pretty cool that he did that. And like with President, and like I said, with President, he invited their drummer, but nobody knows how to get in touch with them. So they just put it in the video.
Banksy.
And I guess they sent it to them beforehand. Yeah, right. It's pretty much, it's a situation kind of like that. But I guess before they put the video out on YouTube, the president responded. It goes, "From the office of the president, we're honored." I can't remember the drummer's name. He's like, we're honored that you invited him to the show. Though we are big into like our anonymity or whatever. He's like, we are honored for this, and we are going to check our schedule to see if they can make it happen or whatever. And it's just the president, like at the bottom. Like their whole thing is cool, and their songs are awesome. Like it's my genre, obviously, so I'm big into it. But he went in there and like did it all. I think they even did a giveaway with the drum head he used because he like wrote all the things on it.
Oh, yeah,
and the main guy he created the show with, he put his phone number on it and showed it on the video. And like everybody text him. He's like, "Please don't text me." But yeah, so
it's funny you bring up Drumeo and all that, because as I've told you before, one of the channels I watch a lot is matthorndrums. He's a drum tech for
Falling
in Reverse. And as we're recording this, happy birthday, Matt. Today's his birthday as we're recording this. and that's a guy I'd love to get on here and just chat, man. He's got such a cool life, but as you know, even more than I do, but even though I've been around musicians, it's a hard life. It's, you know, a lot of work, a
It's
lot of
hard.
travel, and you know, he's
Yeah.
got long. I mean, Luke Collins, his drummer, his guy, and you know, but Luke, as hard as the musicians are working, the techs work even harder. They're there first thing in the morning till late at night, and
They're like
putting
the
in
equipment managers in sports.
exactly, yeah, exactly. So I'd love to get Matt on to talk about that and just how he decided to start documenting it, and his channel's great. Love it.
It's I think I don't know which one of them started doing it first, but the drummer of I Prevail does that too. He wears the chest GoPro.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's the actual drummer, and it's cool because when I got to shoot their show when they were here, I looked at the drummer and I was like, I put up my camera real quick. I wanted to see if he had it on him, and he was wearing it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I still didn't see the episode of it, but it's pretty cool with that perspective and that POV and stuff like that. But
And Matt started kind of adding to his the last like 3 or 4 episodes where he gives a chest GoPro to this girl. She's pretty hot, by the way. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't give a damn. Calls her Hank, and I think her name's Hannah. She handles like all the in concert video stuff. So like the cameras showing the crowd and doing all that kind of stuff. And
like a
she handles-
producer.
yeah, I don't know if even that's her title. I mean, I get that, but I think but anyways, he starts having her wear one too once the show starts. So they kind of go back and forth between his POV and hers, and of course now he's got the 360 cams that he puts up for some unreal images of Luke. It's not just the chest cam anymore, and no, it's really cool. But yeah, today's his birthday. Like I said, as we're recording this on Sunday the 14th, happy birthday to Matt. First post I saw was actually from Luke posting about it, so pretty awesome.
Yeah, I would love, like, that's the cool thing. Is like I'm sure you know who TankTheTech is as well.
I've heard that. Yeah, I love watching the lighting rigs and all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
The front of house guys, the back of house guys. It's really cool.
Yeah, so TankTheTech started off just doing reactions. Like, he was a tour manager and worked with bands as a roadie, I think, and I think he was in bands. But he started off just doing reactions to videos during COVID, and his channel blew up. And then he got back into he came from the country music world, and then he started working with like different touring metal bands. And there's a band called Electric Callboy, which it's funny, with all the metal I listen to, a lot of them have these like super deep lyrics that people don't realize because they can't get past the screaming. Yeah. But Electric Callboy is definitely party metal, and like they're funny as hell. And he's their tour manager, and he actually just moved to Germany because that's where they're from. Yeah. And so it's kind of a cool thing where these guys just start a channel, and then like it changes their lives if they have if they do the right thing and have the right expertise. So moral of the story is start doing more reaction videos.
Well, that too, yeah. I've always wanted to do this with some of my family members that are a little more like, and I don't listen to the same kind of music you do, but back in the day I would listen to more heavy stuff and not a ton of rap, but there's certain Eminem stuff that I got into and others, but the Eminem's the reason I bring that up is I always like I know I have family members be like, oh, it's just no, that's awful, you can't, but I wanted like literally just get the lyrics, write them out, not even tell them it's a song, send them the lyrics and have them read them and be like, oh, that's really inspiring. That's, from Lose Yourself, and be like, that's amazing, inspiring, and all this stuff. And then play the song for him and go, see, you love what he's saying. You just don't like how he's saying it.
Yeah. And that's the funny part. So you and I are both fans of the Rebecca, the vocal coach, I think her name. Yeah. I think it's the Rebecca one. Is it Rebecca, the opera singer?
Charismatic voice? No, it's not Rebecca.
Yeah. Oh, that Rebecca's a different one. But anyway,
Rebecca's different. I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about her friendship with Will Ramos from LornaShore, and I'm super pumped because LornaShore is here a week from today, and I'm hoping I get to go photo that. Elizabeth, and it's funny because it's the most unlikely friendship if you look at it from the outside. Well, did you ever see her videos of her singing?
I was just about to say it's so funny you brought that up. Her most recent video is her singing, and the title is "People Don't Think I Actually Know How to Sing."
Oh, really? And, I saw. Yeah. Is that how long ago was that?
Like it was this past week. Pretty sure. Let me see.
I saw another one too.
I mean, like I said, I'll while you're talking, I'll look at it because I haven't watched it yet because I've heard her sing. I know she could sing.
When Verizon gives you a free phone on any plan.
Is that me or you?
That was me.
Right?
Because I pulled up YouTube. I'm trying to manifest a
we're manifesting sponsorships.
T-Mobile. I'm talking to you, T-Mobile.
So she did this 3 days ago. Folks have claimed I don't know how to sing, and it's a 30-minute video of her singing. Like I said, I haven't watched it yet. I want to. I probably will. Probably will tonight.
I saw another one of her singing, but I'm wondering if maybe I saw like a separate video somebody posted.
She's posted before. Like, yeah, because she has, I think she actually might, well, I could be wrong. I think at some point she either had a separate channel or she used this also as a teaching channel, not just the reactions. She may actually have a separate channel where she actually does like teaching and instruction, unless that's just something she's gotten away from and that's all she does now is the reactions. Because the last one I watched of hers was, oh God, I don't even remember now.
She's another one I would love to have on here just because of like her wandering into the metal world. And it's like, that's a great example of a genre of music that she's been a part of her whole life and the way it's sung. And like, you'd think the people that come along with it to her finding herself in metal and starting to learn what it's about and what it takes. And her interest in it and learning how these people do their vocals and how they sing and everything. It's such a testament to what it's really like to be an open-minded and a true musician.
Yeah. Well, and she did the thing where one of the musicians she's befriended, you know, and it might be who you're talking about,
Will.
where she got together with him because she's doing research on vocal cords and singing, and actually putting a camera down their throat into their vocal cords while they're singing. I don't know how the hell you do that. I mean,
I would have gagged.
I'll gag on a toothbrush. I mean, I just can't imagine trying to sing while having, even if it's the tiniest little camera down your throat, but they pulled it off.
When he uses like those false vocals and stuff like that to do like those screams. And speaking of that band, LornaShore, so and speaking of deep meaning in their lyrics, they just put out a song called Glenwood. And it's about him reconnecting with his dad. Like his dad and his mom had an abusive relationship. He was still raised by his dad, and then when he was younger, he got into like drinking and smoking pot and left home and ran away and all this other stuff. And this song, I'm looking at the video. I first saw it on YouTube, and I'm like, this video is like 9 minutes long. I'm like, what the heck? And it gets into it, but the last few minutes of the video, and the video ends with him standing at his doorway of his his house. Yeah. And the video ends of him talking to his dad, like outside on the stairs and like reconnecting and talking about stuff. Dude, I was weeping. Yeah. I'm just like, oh, like I didn't see that coming at all. And then I'm one of those people, because I listen to it enough. I know what he's saying while he's doing the screams. And I'm listening to a song like, this is heavy. Like, this is deep. And then the video ends with that. And I'm just like, well, that's it. And then it's funny, the comments, like someone wrote in the comments, it's like, well, screw you, Will. I didn't plan on crying today.
Well, that, again, I know we've got other topics to get to, and I would like to dig into this more. And maybe that's when we have some of the musicians we've talked about getting on here. Because, you know, I do think about family members of mine that listen, you know, will look at some of the stuff I used to listen to or maybe still do and be you know, when you really break it down, first of all, whether you like their music or not, don't discount the musicianship.
Oh, yeah.
These people can play. It may not be your style, but they can play. And I will still say, I guarantee you, none of, you know, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, none of them would probably ever listen to Tool. But I could show them that damn video that is infamous now of
Portnoy. You know what's funny
Portnoy. Or not Portnoy. Portnoy's Dream Theater.
No, I know, but I'm talking about him. Didn't he cover the song?
Well, he did. I'm talking about the Danny Carey video doing Numa, where it's just the drum POV. Like, I didn't even know until I kind of like, we talked about one of the first episodes we talked about. I've watched that Ren video no less than 100 times at this point, probably. I've probably watched that Danny Carey video no less than 50, 60 times now too. And especially watching other musicians analyze it and are just blown away by the polyrhythms. I didn't even know what a polyrhythm was until I watched that and I heard him talking about it. I'm like, all four of his limbs are on separate beats.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's doing it's he's like an octopus, man. It's like
How the
when
hell?
when when you watch this stuff, and like the funny thing about Tool is I almost feel like they're too complicated, and that's why I never really got big into Tool. Like
By the way, the
respect the
dude's
hell out of them.
5 and he's
Oh
61 years
Jesus.
old and still
Oh
doing
my
this.
god. But
64
like
years old. Right?
Tool, like bands like Tool and Korn and like even Metallica now, like I'm not fans of those bands. I was at one point, but I have the utmost respect for them being literally the top of whatever it is they're doing for so long. They can go into any arena anywhere and it'll be sold out in 10 minutes. Like I can't hate on a band like that. I can't deny those bands are all actually really good. It's just not my flavor. And I'll tell you another version of music that really hits me is country music.
I remember you used to give me so much shit, and then I still have probably the text, or maybe it was a Facebook message. I think it was a Facebook post that pops up in memories every now and then, and you're like, "Son of a bitch, Cliff's got me listening to country music now, and I like it. Damn it."
Well, when you listen, especially because country bands will have 7, 8, 9, 10 musicians on stage,
Yeah,
and they're playing everything
and
so
they're so
perfectly.
good. They're
It's so tight, and you're just like
yeah.
that many instruments coming through speakers at once shouldn't sound good,
Yeah.
and it sounds perfect. And like I think, and to see what it takes writing those songs, and I think that's why my first big respect for Taylor Swift is she's been doing it for so long. People give me so much crap. She writes it. Granted she's got producers and help, but she writes it.
That's the thing. I mean, she's a musician first and foremost. She can sing. We know that. She doesn't, and I know people love Britney Spears, but she went through that whole era of auto tuning and all that stuff when she was younger and didn't. She had a beautiful voice, and then it went to all that other stuff. Taylor's never done all that. She can sing and clearly can play guitar, can play piano, can do all that stuff. But more importantly, and what you were getting at, anybody that can write.
Mm-hmm.
It goes up so many levels in my view, because that is such a hard thing to do. It's such a hard thing to do, to write that way and get the message across and come from the heart. And now there's people that write songs just for fun and do all this stuff, and it's not a personal thing, and it's just
But it's still a talent to write that stuff, to put something
incredible
together.
talent. It's still an incredible talent, but to be able to do it in a way where you're telling your story in a way too. It's powerful. It's important.
Yep. And like I said, that new LornaShore song, I'll even link it in this video. Go listen to it. Pull up the lyrics if you don't understand metal and watch the video. It's a heavy one, and it's pretty great. And the other thing is with music and comedy have two things very much in common. You're creating something, and the only way to put it out there is to do it in front of people. And let me tell you, that is a scary thing. It's like, okay, nobody's ever heard this before. I'm about to show a lot of people what I just created. Yeah. And they are going to either love it or hate it. Comedians get booed off the stage all the time. Other comedians will go through the basements for years before they become famous.
And I'm not sure people understand, and you'll be able to answer this better than me. I don't know if bands are the same. I don't think they can get away with it as much as comedians can, just because of the sheer volume involved. Mm-hmm. But I know even the biggest comedians in the world, the biggest names that are selling out, massive arenas now, they don't go, when they're coming up with a new show to tour with, they go and test stuff at essentially open mics. They'll go to the small clubs and just test stuff. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, they'll scratch it. They'll put their show together. And to me, that makes sense, because how else are you going to know if it works?
Especially where you're putting it in the set. And
there's no one bigger. There's no one bigger in the world right now than Matt Rife.
Yeah.
And Matt just, is selling out huge arenas now. One of the coolest things I've seen, I don't know if you've seen it, is he went back home to Ohio, where he's from, and he had a very special guest come and give him an award, because he sold out the arena in Columbus. He had the biggest crowd ever for a stand-up, and his hero came and gave him an award.
I didn't see that. And Matt Rife is another one who just walks the line of contradiction with the way he talks and stuff. They tried to cancel him for things he said, and it's something we're actually going to talk about as far as people using their words to express hate. Comedy is a different kind of beast when it comes to that.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
It was Dane Cook, by the way, that came in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's real. I'll have to send you the video. I don't know if we'll link it here, but we could probably link it here. But yeah, it was actually, I was never the biggest Dane Cook fan, but that kind of interaction with them out there was really special. Matt's got he's got a banner now hanging from the Blue Jackets arena.
No kidding. Nationwide? Is it still called Nationwide?
Is it? Yes, it is. So he's got they get, that's what I'm reading it right now because I saw it, but I couldn't remember. It's been a few weeks since I watched it. He was given a Columbus Blue Jackets bathrobe, and then they also they hung something from the rafters because he has set a new attendance record at Nationwide Arena.
That's awesome. That's pretty awesome. And for comedy, that's massive.
And he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant.
The way he interacts with people and the fact that he can, like, especially the hecklers that try and like test him, and the way he can shut them down, it's pretty impressive. And then, like, he says some out of pocket stuff. Sometimes he'll say things you're like, oh.
But again, you have to remember, it's
comedy. Yeah,
it's never personal, and he's, by all accounts, he's a good dude. And it's just comedy, and he's brilliant at it, and you can't take it personal.
His interactions he does with people, if he learns that maybe are fighting cancer or just beat cancer, or people with disabilities and stuff, he's great with them. And like, I hated him at first because I was jealous because he's funny and good looking, and I just can't handle that kind of competition, even though I'm not even on that platform.
Absolute prick.
I'm so sick of these kind of people.
You know what he is? He's the comedy version of Henrik Lundqvist.
Screw both of them. Honestly, I gotta be careful. Like I have a very good chance of running into Lundqvist during the season. So
I helped coaches at his camp in on Chelsea Pier.
Well, like I said,
and he's the nicest guy in the world. Damn you!
I met him last season, I think it was, and I was like, please be a jerk to me.
No,
like, give me a reason.
Sweetest guy ever.
Oh, he's very nice, and like when you talk to him, he takes an interest.
Yes, he does.
Which, as a stranger to stranger on any level, is very hard to do. But he's like this big superstar, Hall of Fame goalie, and he'll listen to you and take an interest in what you're saying. That's a genuine trait.
That's
right
100%, 100%. Yeah.
You want to know a really cool thing about Matt Rife you probably didn't think of? He is now sharing banner space with the late great Johnny Gaudreau.
Johnny, number 13.
So, I think that's a pretty special place to be when it comes to Columbus.
Yeah,
Calgary put one up too, didn't they?
I think so. So that reminds me of another guy for our sports show I want to get on, my buddy Adam Bartholomew, who coaches out at the rink where Johnny and his brother were a lot. His dad runs the rink, or their dad runs the rink. And
me and Cookie coached against Gaudreau. Chowder Cup. He was on that Chowder Cup team.
Did we coach against him, or we just see him? I thought we just saw them play.
No, he was on that team where Hewitt almost killed Milano.
Oh yeah, is that where we almost got kicked out by Paul Stewart?
Yeah, the same game.
Paul Stewart was not, by the way, Paul Stewart was not wrong.
No, not at all.
We did not belong there.
No, absolutely not. I think we're a good fit for that level, that A level. But that team is all like O kids and drafted players and D1 commits. Like they were there for a summer skate. Our guys are like, I hope a D3 school sees me. Like,
no. Let's back up, because we were coaching the guys that still thought they had a chance. They were hoping a D1 school was going to see them.
I mean, a couple of those guys could have got some sniffs. But yeah, it's those guys do a pretty incredible thing, and it's actually good. We were talking about rife with contradiction and things you're saying with what we're talking about. But before we get into that, did we even say hello? Yeah, we said hello because it's 25th episode thing. I'm so sorry for how bad our openers are. Everybody's so good at that.
It's gotta become our thing.
They really, honestly, I think I'm doing a good job of cutting it at the right spot because it makes me laugh every time, and I hate us.
Okay.
But I have one gripe before we get into the show. Every now and then you might hear me cough, or I'm just congested, my throat's dry. There's a girl at the gym I also work for at Gold's. She's the personal training manager. Her name is Athena, and I'm pissed at you. She was sick as a dog in the gym on Thursday, and I'm like, go home, because you're going to get other people sick. She's like, I can't, blah, 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 blah. First of all, I hate the fact we've created a culture to feel like you're going to get in trouble if you go home when you're sick. And she wasn't like sniffle sick. Like she had no voice. She's coughing really loud. And I work in a small contained office. So when I'm editing videos and stuff, I can shut the door and block the world out. She comes in there and like thought it was funny and coughed. She's a younger girl. She's very nice. She's very good at her job. But I was like, go home because you're going to get somebody sick. I'm the one that got sick. So I'm not feeling the greatest today. I'm not going to get that sick. My immune system's pretty solid. But as soon as I felt it, I was like, I was so mad. So Athena, I'm pissed. And I know I owe you lunch because you won the bet. She bet me, I bet her she wasn't going to sell anything sounding like that. And she sold some personal training. But I'm furious because I feel it. And I'm like 3 days out from headshot day and start a training camp.
Yeah.
And luckily today was outside at one of our like roller rinks that the Capitals build around the area. Cool rink, by the way, right next to it, like a skate park and all sorts of really cool park.
One of the ones we were talking about with who were we talking to today? I'm confusing Tanner and
it was Cody.
Colby. Oh my God, we're such pricks.
Sorry.
Sorry, Colby. Colby, we do have if all things work together, we'll have some cool news for you, hopefully. For next year,
if you accept it now.
Oh yeah, now that we just both butchered this thing. Yeah,
but yeah. So that's my first gripe I have because like I'm feeling it today, and luckily no hockey. And today was outside, and it was like 85 degrees today, which is super hot for me. But I got to sweat a little bit. But
no, and I last week and I went back and watched, which I do all the time, even though I think they tell us not to. Oh no, what they say is don't watch. What's the rule on these? Don't watch them right away. Give it a few days. Is that the rule when we're recording these? I don't know. Anyways, like the experts tell the newcomers to these podcasts to not watch them right away. But I give it a few days. Usually when I'm at my other job. But I went back and watched last week's, and I know I commented on it during it that I sounded awful. I had no energy, and as they're watching, I go, man, I was pathetic. Yeah, it was bad. So we had games again this weekend. I'm starting to kind of get into the flow of things. I have more energy now, thankfully. My voice is not as bad as it was last week, although it's still not quite there yet because I'm still not in mid-season form. Didn't have to do a ton of yelling this weekend, even though we got a couple more wins. We didn't play the greatest, but that's neither here nor there. But
we'll save that for the sports day if we don't. So that was my first gripe there about don't come to work sick. I think we even did this when we were coaching. I'm pretty sure we had players show up or get out. Like you're gonna ruin the team.
Yeah.
But to go into the world news, everybody's talking about it, and I'm going to say the disclaimer, and if Cookie wants to take a different route, my disclaimer is I'm not going to talk about him as a person. I'm not going to talk about his politics, my politics. None of that kind of stuff. The part I want to address is something I actually made a TikTok video about, which I'll get into that as well. And I want to talk about humanity. And I want to talk about people and their response to things and the day and age that we're living in right now and how it's obscene to me with how people are reacting to things, whether side, no matter what side of the political aisle that you're on. And we've kind of talked about it, but we barely talk about it. We don't walk around with our shovels to dig our own grave. And so, for me, I have beliefs on both sides. Like I believe everybody has a right to be exactly who they are, love whoever they want to love, and be the person that they feel like they should be. And I support that, and it doesn't change who they are as a person. Yep. And I have outstanding friends in all sides of the communities, whether the race, religion, sexuality, whatever the case may be.
Political affiliation.
Exactly. I have friends of all areas of that, and it's nothing I have a problem with anybody. The issues I have are when hate is used to fuel the belief. Mm-hmm. And those are and that's an obvious thing. Like a lot of people want to start throwing around the name Hitler and talking about this person's Hitler, that person's Hitler. That's quite the extreme thing considering who Hitler was and what he did. And so when you're talking about justified death, yeah, Hitler's was justified. His main people in command and a lot of his soldiers, justified. But the situation with Charlie Kirk is crazy because I saw the video of it actually happening within minutes.
Same.
Of when it happened on Twitter. Because like I saw it and I first thought it was AI because everything is these days. And with the political sphere out there, I was like, that's not real. Then I saw 2-3 different angles. I was like, holy crap, it's real. And my immediate thought, because like I don't follow him, you know what I mean? Like I'm not big on his beliefs on stuff. The one thing people will say it was a violent tactic he used, and the one thing I can appreciate is even though he was, in my opinion, wrong or misguided in a lot of things he said, one thing he did is he encouraged people to, even if they got blown up on their spot by him, because he's just that good at debate. And even if you were right, he can just shut you down and make you think you were wrong. And it's almost like a debate bullying tactic. But at the very least, these people that would debate him and say, okay, I did terrible at that, they would go home and probably start learning and reading and researching to try and learn about whatever stance they're trying to take. And a lot of people that debated him came up with some pretty good questions and points. And he just does a great job of circling around what their questions were and drives home his belief. But he never sent anybody out to cause harm. He said some stuff that were like his comment about you have to, what is it? I apologize if I'm saying this wrong, but basically saying you have to lose a few lives to guns in order to uphold the Second Amendment. Or something like there's something along those lines, and I apologize if I'm wrong. There's been so much coming out of things he said, but I used to find it entertaining when he would go to these colleges and we went on Jubilee to do these things. But to witness what had happened, knowing his wife and children were in attendance, and to know that his kids in particular, and the students that surrounded him that day, whether they liked him or not, for the rest of their lives will never get that out of their head. And even worse, they're going to be able to go back and watch it for eternity. And watching that happen to somebody is such a wild thing. Like I jumped when I saw it. And I myself, I've been around death. I've been around gun violence. I know Cookie's been around some pretty extreme situations with stuff. It's still shocking and it's still traumatic to see it. We see it on video, and it's honestly something that's been going in my head over and over again. And now I just can't stop thinking about his kids amongst anybody that they lost a dad, something I know very well about at a young age, but in such a violent manner in front of so many people because of a political stance. And that is the part I can't get around. But even worse, to see people celebrating it like it was a happy, joyous moment that somebody was taken out that way. That's the humanity I'm talking about. I understand people didn't like him. I understand people wanted him out. People didn't want to see his face. Cool. I can get behind that. I can understand why people didn't want. Just like people on the right don't want to see the left activists and the left allies. But violence isn't going to fix all of this. And unfortunately, we just got done talking about the school shooting in Minnesota, and all these other violent crimes. There was a high school shooting an hour before in Colorado. What is with Colorado, by the way? But my issue, without getting into anything else, is the humanity shown by people saying, "I'm glad it happened. Good." People even people are losing their jobs, like we were talking about before. Because of what they're saying, and they don't get it. And it's like, how can you not understand that a company doesn't want somebody working for them when they're celebrating a moment like that in such an evil fashion? Because the big accusation each party has towards each other is evil, right? It's like, these people are evil because of this. These people are evil because of this. Well, here you are laughing and celebrating and playing music like you just won the lottery and feeling zero remorse for these people. That's evil. And it's heartbreaking to see, because I don't want anyone to die of whether their political aspirations, whether I agree with them or not, unless they're out there actually committing horrible crimes and stuff like that, where the usually like, yeah, death penalty. I don't want anyone to die. I don't want there to be gun violence. I'm a person who actually is in favor of the Second Amendment, but like I said on this show, with extensive background checks, extensive checks before you're just like, yes, you can purchase this gun. But the stuff I've been seeing, man, it's gross. And I made a video on YouTube. I was telling you about this earlier. I mean, sorry, not YouTube, on TikTok. And I made a video basically saying the same thing. Now, you just heard me basically kind of say the same kind of thing. Did I say anything that sounds like hateful talk or speech?
No.
So when I was at work, posted a video, basically saying the same exact thing, came back and I got a notification like your account's been restated or reinstored or whatever, restored. And I'm like, what? My whole account was banned from that one video, and the video's gone and still gone, and I appealed it and they're saying it's hate speech. And it's crazy because I don't say Republicans, I don't say liberals, I don't say anything about religion, nothing.
Yeah.
And so now that's why I kind of made a follow-up post saying, everybody come follow me here. I used to post all my mental health videos and my other stuff videos here, which I'm going to get back to. And we're going to convince Cookie to start posting and taking videos and posting them here as well, because he's not busy enough. I just, I lost the ability to monetize my TikTok, which I used to make a little bit off of that every month. And it's just, I mean, in a sense, and I hate to sound extreme, but I was talking about that. I mean, that is an actual censorship of my First Amendment right of free speech. Because I was talking about something that happened in that sphere, and I was saying I didn't like it, and then I was censored. Yeah. And, the big argument, everyone's like, oh, free speech, I can say what I want. Free speech means you can talk poorly, or not talk poorly, but be not in favor of your government and not be punished for it. It doesn't mean you can be racist and bigoted and hateful. That's why there's laws against that. The people who try and lean on free speech are dumb like that, because that's not what it's about. Look in England right now, you can get arrested if you post something negative on social media. But yeah, so I'm going to be moving stuff over here. I'll make small posts over there for as long as I have that page. But it's kind of it's a horrific thing we all witnessed. I am heartbroken for his kids. I don't know anything about his wife. Obviously, people are making all the judgments about her. But she's lost everything. Their kids lost their dad. And whatever people say about him, he looked like he was a pretty good dad. And it's just it's a pretty nasty place in history we are right now.
Yeah, I messaged John soon after saying I'm ready to talk. I was fired up, and I'm glad we waited because I've had a chance to calm down.
We've talked about how reactive we can be sometimes.
Yeah, I've only calmed down to a point, but there is, and I've, for a lot of reasons, relationship related, career related, and all that, I've never really publicly mentioned my leanings, although it's probably not too hard to figure out when you hear me talk. But look, I'm in 100% agreement with John. There, with the exception, in our lifetime, or at least within, you mentioned the name Hitler, but even within our lifetime, there's the number of people that deserve to die for what they've done on an extreme level is very small. I mean, you think of a Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, and you mentioned Hitler. I don't know that there's a lot of arguments to be made on that.
Mm. And I mean, real quick, sorry to interrupt. Like, we did talk about, like, there's been the different school shootings and stuff like that. Like those people that carry out a horrendous act. Like,
I was just thinking
we're not taking away from even localized things.
Right.
It's not just international terrorists. I apologize for cutting you off in that.
No.
I don't want people to jump the gun on assuming what we need.
No, and I don't know that I can even have a viable conversation right now about the death penalty when it comes to those things, because there are, well, I mean, our episode with Becky's a prime example. You know, at the time, the young man that committed that atrocity at Heath High School in Paducah, Kentucky, you know, my first, if I, and I will be perfectly honest, it was in 1997. I'm what, 2-3 years out of high school at that point. I'm not paying attention. We all pay attention to Columbine, but Paducah didn't really hit my radar at the time. I can't sit here and tell you that my first reaction at that point was that, yeah, that guy needs to get the chair, you know, that kind of thing. I can't, you know, I don't know. But in hearing her conversation and even how she was at the parole hearing and got to hear him speak, and the amazing grace and eloquence with which Becky spoke about all that, he doesn't need to die. He needs help. Very much needs help. That's not the case for everybody. There are some pure evil out there, without question, that we don't need on this planet anymore. And they are evil on a level none of us can comprehend, because it's just not within us. But, you know, going back to what I was starting to say, I've never been public about this, and I guess this is the closest I'm going to get to it now. And I've never in my life kind of proclaimed whether I'm Republican, Democrat. I've lived in red states most of my life. I think if you were to put the chart down of the things I kind of fall on the place of, and that's even a weird argument now too, because things have shifted over the years.
Yeah.
I'm definitely probably more left leaning. There's no question, and maybe further left than even I realize. But all that aside, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Charlie Kirk does not deserve to die. At all. He did not deserve to die. I have serious issues with his beliefs, but he did not deserve to die. He had every right to say anything he wanted to say. He had every right to stand up there and speak his mind and have those debates. And as you said, he's a great debater. Debate is a hard thing, and he's very good at it. And whether or not the people across from him had better ideals and better, at least in my opinion, he did a better job of expressing it than they did. He had every right to be who he is, whether I agree with it or not. Doesn't matter. That's just the way it is. And that's the beauty of how this country was created. And I'm angered. I am saddened, as you said, for his children. I'm angered at this piece of shit that did it. And, you know, we'll learn more and more about him. I mean, stories are all over the map, as they usually are in these scenarios.
My God, yeah, you can't. I can't
mean,
figure anything out about him. It's something different every 10 minutes.
Yeah. And here's the really shitty thing. And there's so much I want to say. So much I want to say, including to, you know, my people that are, you know, I've known for decades, most of my life, people that I've known a short time, and created all these posts, you know, following the horrific event about, you know, how awful it was. And and as I said to you before we started going here, from a singularity standpoint, I agree with them. It's a horrific event. Should have never happened. He had every right to still be sitting and going to these college campuses and having these debates. As much as I don't agree with him, I wish he could do it tomorrow, because it needs to happen. The debates have to happen for this country to survive, whether you agree with them or not. But where were your posts? Where were these heartfelt posts following the recent school shootings? I didn't see any of you post about Colorado. Happened at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see all these people that you know about who posted about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and that's exactly what it was. I don't care what anybody says; it's an assassination. Whether he was a direct, he's not a politician, doesn't matter. That was an assassination. But none of you posted about the Colorado shooting that happened at the same time at a school with children. None of you posted about the Minnesota shooting with children. And that list can go on and on and on. And none of you post about a political assassination that happened earlier this year in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are we doing? You can't pick and choose.
And look at where we're at too, because I mean, again, there was 2 attempts on Trump, and let's not forget when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked. It's happening on both.
I'm going to interrupt you this time. I'm going to interrupt you this time because you brought up that situation with Paul Pelosi.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with you. I'm angered at the people celebrating what happened to Charlie Kirk. How the hell do you celebrate that?
Yeah.
You can't. It's a horrific thing. And the people complaining about those celebrating, though, are the same ones that were celebrating when Paul Pelosi was attacked. What the hell's wrong with us? Enough is enough. I'm so, I mean, it's building. It's fucking building. But
and here's the thing is, like, as a country, we've come to the point where we become so numb to these things. We kind of talked about it with this when we were talking about the school shootings. It's like it happens 2 days later, nobody's talking about it anymore. That's a traumatic event. That's something that shouldn't stop being talked about until there's something done to fix it or change it. And this here's where this is different. Millions of people watched a human being die and get shot, and just the gore that came with it, and were just absolutely had nothing to give. And they just didn't, they thought it was the greatest thing. People are making it their profile picture on social media. And it's just like, what has happened to society? And here's the thing. I don't know what those people's lives are. I have been through one hell of a life. It's not the worst life, but it hasn't been the greatest. And I can sit here and I've watched people die. I've had family members die. Both of my parents are dead. I don't have any siblings and stuff like that. The world full of billions of people could be an extremely lonely place. Yep. The last thing I want to do is share it with people that will giggle and make jokes when somebody dies. Now, if someone doesn't know how to deal with that kind of stuff and they make jokes not about that to kind of ease their own tension, fine. Like, that's a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
But with something where I talk so much about mental health, and we talk about it a lot, we've talked about it on just regular phone calls. Where's everybody's mental health? They think they're doing okay, and then they laugh at that. Like, I think I was just in kind of shock the rest of the day after seeing it. I couldn't watch it. I can't watch it now.
Yeah.
And you know, and I, at first I was saying, like, TikTok and stuff didn't take the video down when it went up. They worked as fast as they could. It's a lot harder to find now.
Yeah. Same with,
which is good.
Same with Twitter. It was everywhere, and now it's pretty hard to find. Thankfully, I watched it, and I will say I watched it multiple times, like you did, because it didn't seem real, and I had to keep watching it to say, is this actually real? And then it finally kind of hit me that this is very real, and it's horrific, absolutely horrific.
Mm-hmm. They interviewed the kid he was debating at the time. I think his name was Hunter, sit right in front of him.
Yeah.
When it had happened, and
ironically asking a question about gun violence.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, ironically, but at the same time not, because that's one of the most popular topics.
And there will hopefully come a time, I'm not ready for that yet for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is wanting to talk to my family first and make sure they understand. But as John knows, there is a history of gun violence in my family. And even prior to that happening, I've never, ever been a fan of guns, but that's my personal choice. I can't sit here and tell you I'm the greatest fan of the Second Amendment, but at the same time, I'm not here to tell you that the people that are doing it the right way shouldn't. One of my oldest best friends in the world has quite a few weapons, and he's a very responsible gun owner, and I love the guy to death, and I would do anything for him. But there's also a lot of people in my life that are like me that don't want to touch one of those ever. Even though I have. I'm not trying to sound hypocritical. I was about 13, 14 years old when I was able to fire a gun for the first time, and I'm not going to pretend like I didn't enjoy parts of it. I didn't like all of it, but it didn't make me want to go out and get one. But I think, my anger also came from the fact that, and again, let me preface this by saying, we still, and the way things are, we may never, because again, even today, some more stuff was starting to come out about the accused shooter, and even it's hard to call him accused. He confessed to it, but legally, he's accused. About his roommate being a transgender and all this stuff. And I will say this, a side note, and I realize, the transgender thing, LGBTQ thing is obviously always a big sticking point especially with people on the conservative side of things. I am, and you may too. I know I definitely have friends that are one of my most flamboyantly gay friends, and frankly, I don't talk to him anymore because of some pretty disturbing things he's done. He's an incredibly flamboyantly gay man. He's been married to the same man for a long time, which is great. I used to consider them very close. He's a huge, huge MAGA supporter. So, and I bring that up because they're trying to use, and again, this may come out to be true. I don't know. They're trying to use the fact that the accused shooter's roommate, and now they're trying to claim as his lover, may very well be. Don't know. Doesn't matter though. Is a transgender man that's trying to convert, go through surgery, whatever. I mean, like all these stories are coming out. That doesn't mean they're not ultra conservative people. Mm-hmm. The instant assumption in that scenario is that they must be hard, left wing radicals. And actually, interesting. I've got it pulled up here because I hadn't seen this yet till we were about to start talking. And a Republican senator from Utah, John Curtis. I don't know anything about John Curtis, but he actually has a really interesting quote. And he said, "I think you need to take the word radical and remove right or left. You're either radical or you're not.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if you're radical right, radical left." And I think he said if coming from any direction is not good, it's not healthy and should be called out. And he's exactly right. Radical is radical. I don't care if you're a radical left, radical right. You are not doing anything. And I kind of got sidetracked a bit because I was about to say is my anger comes from the fact, and for argument's sake, let's say, and again, we don't know, but let's say the accused shooter is a radical left, wanted to make a statement. Well, all you've done by doing this is emboldened the people that you are so against. It doesn't help. It only hurts. It hurts everything. And it didn't, as much as, and I hope this happens, for a brief moment, and I don't know if you saw this too, but for a very brief moment after this happened, I was like, there was a weird, and it sounds awful to say in this horrific scenario, but there was a brief moment of optimism that said, both sides are going to say enough and come together and say, this is enough is enough. Like, this is what it's come to. Now, I would have hoped that would have happened back in, what was it, June?
Yeah,
June, when Minnesota Representative Melissa Hortman was assassinated along with her husband and their dog.
Well, the attempts on Trump were the summer before, right?
It was before the election.
Yeah. So it was last summer. So it was a year. It was a year prior. I mean,
and I'm not going to get into. And by the way, I'm not even going to get into the whole conversation because there's theories on whether or not the validity of those as well. I'm not. That's not what we're here for. That's not what we're about.
And here's the other part of that is like you brought up a good point about the validity of things that's already happening now with this.
Yes.
Because they're saying, ironically enough, this all happened and they voted to completely seal up the Epstein files at the very same time.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, and
it's conspiratorial heaven now for people.
100%. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. Again, we could talk about this forever, but a couple of the ones that I've seen. The first one that popped up right away, I don't know if you noticed, the two guys standing very close to where Charlie Kirk were giving like hand signals.
Oh yeah. It was a hot day. They're adjusting.
Well, and then there was a guy who's apparently a military guy that was going through, those are hand signals for snipers. Like, he had the whole list of what they are. But then part of that was one of those guys looked very, very similar. Very similar. Even I could see that, but it didn't. I don't think it's the same guy by any means. But I can see where a conspiracy theorist would jump on it to one of the primary Secret Service guys you see in the image after the apparent assassination attempt on Trump in Pennsylvania. And it's the guy kind of standing over him and holding him. They look very similar, but like that's a conspiracy theorist's wet dream to have something like that.
Well, that was kind of the thing with.
Well, then there's the whole other thing. Again, I don't know if you've seen this, but apparently there's where Charlie was sitting, there's a camera on the tarp, the tent behind him. And before the place had even cleared out, people were removing that camera.
Oh, really?
But what does the camera mean? The footage is going somewhere else. If there's footage from that camera, they've got it. Like,
yeah. It's not on a VHS tape in the camera.
Yeah, this isn't 1984. Like, let's settle down.
I didn't even see that one.
Theorists, like in any other scenario, are going to run wild. I'm not going to buy it. Where I kind of want to end my rant, I mean, I could go all night because I was, as John knows, I was fired up. I was very fired up, and I wanted to call out.
I was trying to find a guest.
I was trying, I know, and I was ready to call out friends, and I'm not going to do that because, again, a lot of what was happening, and this is kind of where I'll kind of end with this, the two things, is a lot of the reaction to this, much like after 9/11, after any of this major stuff, it comes out of just fear. There's no question. And again, you can say what you want about Charlie Kirk. He had huge influence, especially among young people.
He was a young guy.
Yeah. He's 31?
31 years old.
Well, he got his start when he was like 16, 17 years old.
Yeah. I mean, he skipped college. I mean, he's got a book like The College Scam or College is a Scam or whatever it is. I mean, wildly successful.
Yeah. But a lot of this comes out of fear, and the reactions are fear-based. And I get it. I 100% get it, which is why I'm glad we waited a few days to do this, because I was ready to call some people out. And I still will, because I think my argument's valid. Is yes, from a singularity standpoint, the things you wrote on social media to the people that I have on mine, you're not wrong. It's a horrific thing. Should have never happened. I'm not a religious man, but my religious friends would say, pray for our country. You're right. I mean, my theory is that hasn't changed anything, because we're still where we are, and it just seems to be getting worse. So thoughts and prayers aren't really doing a lot, and I know I'll get a lot of shit for that, and I don't really care at this point. Actions need to happen, but that's coming from fear, and I get it. But at the same time, what happened that day and what seems to continue to happen isn't helping anything. Yeah. It's making it worse. It's not uniting people like either they hoped, or it's not silence. It's not going to silence someone. Yes, you might have silenced Charlie Kirk as an individual, but you haven't silenced what he stands for. If anything, you've amplified it.
Yeah, it's definitely added fuel to the fire.
Yeah. So what do we like? At the end of the day, like, how fucking stupid do you have to be, and pathetic and evil do you have to be to take a man away from his children, whether you like him or not? I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn whether you like him or not. I don't like the guy either. He deserves to be at a college campus tomorrow morning, talking and debating.
Well, and that's just the thing, is it's this pure irony of it is a lot of people have been silenced. A lot of people will go and debate him, and they don't have the backing. And a lot of people he's debated, they've been saying the right things, like I said, and he just found a way to shut them down.
It's because he's a better debater.
Oh, he's a master at it. I mean, there's a
reason there's debate competitions. It's not about who's right or who's wrong. It's who does a better job of it. And he's done a
debate is a competition 100% of the time.
That's what I'm saying. But like actual national championships and stuff, it's because it doesn't matter who's wrong or right in it. It's who does a better job. And
they have teams.
And unfortunately for people who believe my side of things, 99 times out of 100, he does a better job of it. And good for him. I mean, so be it. Again, I don't agree with his politics, but he does a good job at it. And and it's one of the reasons why we're in the situation we're now. And I'll say it now because I don't care. I'm at that point now. Clearly, it shouldn't be a shocker based on what I've said so far. I'm not a Trump guy at all, not in the slightest. I wish he was in an office, but he is. And, I'm hopeful that at some point that maybe even he says, okay, we've reached a tipping point, but I don't know that's going to happen. But best thing I can say to everybody, and it's cliche, it's cheesy and all this stuff, but
Sorry.
if you're like me and you don't like him, the best thing you do is go vote.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is I even said to people, like, when he won the election, people that I'm friends with that are on the right like started messaging me and like trying to like taunt me about it, and I was like, okay, well, let's hope he does a good job.
Yeah.
Like, it's my only thought I could have, because why would I want the leader of our country to sink the ship?
That's the thing. I always hate that. Like, why do you? And again, I'm not a fan of his, but I don't wish failure on him, because failure on him is failure on all of us.
Yeah, we're all going down on the Titanic, man.
When he was first elected the first time, when he elected this time, I don't wish failure on him, because that affects all of us.
It's an immature and closed-minded reaction.
Let's put it out there. It affects the people that are most vulnerable the worst. If any president, I don't care what party they're from, fails, it affects the most vulnerable of us all. Yeah. And so no, I don't care who it is. I don't like him, but I want him to succeed. We need success. We need someone to succeed in that position, because it benefits us. And as we've seen over and over and over again, it benefits the entire world, because I mean, whether we are still or not, we're a superpower, and what happens here affects the entire world. I don't know how much that's the case anymore. That's a whole other argument, and I'm not willing to get into that right now. I think we need to stick with what we're talking about, but
there's a lot happening. I mean, and here's the thing: is the world right now
podcast, but it's as close as we're gonna get. It's today.
Well, and that's the thing, is like the stuff that's going on in the world right now in general is scary in every part of the world right now. Like there's a lot happening. There's the pot is starting to boil.
Yeah.
And it's a very sensitive situation. People have to be very careful. But like you said, we can't have the leaders fail.
No.
Because like you said, it affects us.
Yeah.
And that's just the thing of it. But I'm not mad at the system. I'm not mad at the system, because that's what the system was designed for. It's like, okay, my person didn't win. Well, that person won. Now they need to go and do their job.
I'm with you. I think, for better or for worse, the system that we have in this country, and I'm sure there are experts and scholars and all that could absolutely prove me wrong, and so be it. But
you mean we're not scholars, Cookie?
Far from it. But our system, the forefathers did a brilliant job of putting together a system to where, with the checks and balances and the ability to amend we're still however many years since the beginning, and I'm also not a math wizard, so scholar no, math wizard no. We're still a nation in progress. We're still developing, and that's why we can amend the Constitution. That's why we have the checks and balances. The problem is a lot of those checks and balances are not quite doing what they're supposed to be doing at this point, and that is a problem.
Getting the due process they're deserving.
Yeah, and even between the different branches of government, it's just not what it was created to be. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm smart enough to understand how all that works, but I'm smart enough to know that it's a problem. And I don't wish failure, even among the people I don't like. And that's the bottom line. I don't like a lot of the people in charge right now, but I don't wish failure on them, because failure affects us all.
That's pretty synonymous. We've talked about this before. Like, we're big fans of watching people win. I send Cookie Instagram clips all the time, and whether it's sports, music, or if it's just like a feel-good story of someone doing something, I send it all the time because I watch them and I freaking love them. I love to see people win. Like, I'll be the first one to admit is like when Trump was elected, if he stepped in and all these amazing things started happening, I would have been like, hell yeah, I was wrong. I would have been the first one to admit it. I have no problem admitting I'm wrong. Cliff and I joke about being dumb all the time, but like, we're very understanding of the fact that a lot of things we say and do are not the.
We're smarter than we look.
We're smarter than we don't look very smart. I'll tell you that much right now. Our next episode will be us wearing dunce caps, but at the end of the day, we're human, and we need to act human. We need to embrace humanity.
Yeah.
And I Charlie Kirk said this quote all the time. I don't think it's his. It'd be silly to think it was his. But when people are silent, that's when things become violent. And the ironic part of this, violence silenced one person,
Yeah.
but it's going to create an uproar
Yeah.
in the end of it all. And I mean, you heard the responses, like just calling it, saying we are at, like a lot of people saying we're at war with the left and the left is at war with the right. It's like, I don't want to be at war with anybody.
No.
I would love to sit down and talk to
I'm
people.
I'm a lefty that loves my righty friends. I don't want to be at war with anybody.
My mom was as big of a conservative as she could have been, unfortunately extremely bigoted. And I think I was witness to that, which made me kind of learn a better way to be, because I watched someone just be hateful every day.
Well, that's I think I've kind of hinted at that before on our shows. Like, I mean, I grew up in Texas, man. Like, it doesn't get any redder other than maybe if you go out to Alabama, Mississippi, and those kind of areas. But I grew up in Texas, and I didn't grow up in Austin, that is a very liberal town. I grew up in Dallas and Dallas-Fort Worth area. And while some would say they're more liberal than they are conservative, I would disagree, just because of what I grew up with. Just what I grew up with, man. And at most of the states I've lived in at this point, have been very red states, and it has shaped my beliefs, because. But I go kind of the other direction, admittedly. But again, some of the most important people in my life are very conservative people, conservative people, and they're not necessarily the MAGA right, but they're and I know a lot of people that I care deeply about and that I'm friends with voted for Donald Trump, and that's their right. I have I don't agree with him. I wish he wasn't in office, but that is the beauty of this country. They have I'm not going to ever discourage them from that. They have to make up their own minds, just like I do. They may not agree with how, what I believe in and voted, but I would do anything for these people. They're the important people in my life, and I love them to death. We just have differing opinions, and that's the beauty of where we live. There are other countries, when you have those differing opinions, it doesn't work out so well.
No, God, I mean, it's and that's just the way it is. I mean, even like I said, something as simple as posting on social media your disapproval or your disagreement with something in government can get you arrested and jail time right now. That is a liberty that we don't have to worry about.
No, and your situation on TikTok, while it sucks and you've lost a potential, even if it's a small thing, moneymaker scenario, it's a prime example, though, of where the fear of a lot of people of where we're headed here is that you can't even voice that opinion. I mean, I'm telling you right now, as we've been recording this, I'm going, what's going to happen with this episode?
I've had a couple worries. Like, I'm starting to think of, like, Kim, if you're watching this, me and Cookie might need to come check up sooner than later.
Yeah. But I don't want to change any. I believe what I believe. I'm not going to change anything I've said. And I don't think, I would like to think anyways, that we have approached this in a very fair-minded way, because we've both said the same thing. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. You deserve to have the right to speak. You have deserved the right to feel what you feel. The one thing I will never stand for, but it doesn't mean you deserve what happened to Charlie Kirk. I won't stand for racism. I won't stand for any kind of bigotry whatsoever. Homophobia and any of that. I mean, put the list of phobias down. I'm isms or whatever you want to call them. I'm kind of tongue tied right now because I'm a little fired up, but which doesn't help my cause any, but I won't put up with, but at the same time, it doesn't mean you don't deserve, you can still speak your mind. Even if you have that fear or those beliefs, you can say it. Doesn't mean I'm going to put up with it, but it also doesn't mean there's a retribution to that extreme that needs to happen.
Yeah. I think one of the greatest things that we could take away from all of this is I hope that people don't become afraid to speak. And when I say speak, I mean have conversations and have discussions. I don't want people to raise their voice in a violent manner. I don't want people to celebrate the evil doings of one person or another. But at the end of the day, a lot of fear comes from the misunderstanding of the other person's viewpoint. So if I have a misunderstanding of something, there's things happening in the world right now on a grander scale that I'll be honest with you, I don't understand either side. I don't know. Everyone's like, oh, do you support this or this? And I'm like, I have no idea. And I'm not going to give an opinion if I don't learn about it.
Yeah.
And so I guess my final take on this will be, if you're in a disagreement with somebody, if you don't understand somebody's viewpoint, allow yourself to be curious. Me and Cookie started this and started talking to people. We always talk about how we do no research because we want to learn. We want to learn about what these other people are going through and doing what they're doing. Our last episode with Kim, we learned things that happen in the military. We had no idea. We never even would have thought of it. And if you sit down and have a civil conversation with somebody and say, this is why I believe what I believe, even if you don't agree with it, you might learn to not hate that person anymore because you come to an understanding of why they believe it. Somebody said this on Twitter. Somebody was like, you guys are all celebrating him for talking and going to colleges, debating these kids. They're 18 years old. Their brains haven't developed yet, and kind of a rant like that. And my first thought when I read that is, these 18-year-olds that you're saying don't have the ability to think are also ones that are legal to vote.
Going to
war. Yeah. So maybe they don't have their brain fully functioning right now, and maybe they don't. And it's like, you want to say a person's going in and bullying them. Maybe after that debate, like I said before, maybe they went home and said, okay, I need to read this book. I need to look this up and look that up and get into learning about the Constitution and the amendments and what they all mean and actually learning what they are. Maybe it sparked a fire. Maybe him doing that created a more powerful person that's on the left side of the political aisle that is now en route to do better things and help our country in a way because he said, you're dumb. And it's a terrible take on that. And it's a terrible way to go at it. And you don't want the bully of it. But at the very least, he never put hands on anybody. He never wished ill on anybody. You know what? Yeah, your face is kind of right there. At least with the kids he was debating, I can't say I've ever seen a time where he's like, I hope.
There's plenty of video evidence.
Yeah.
To the contrary. So, but again, it doesn't change the fact he didn't deserve the fate.
Yeah. And he didn't do it. And he didn't do it. He was all words. You want to sit there and talk about sensitivity and stuff. It's like, oh, well, he only said these things.
Yeah.
And he did. And I do know he did say some pretty bad things. Yeah. But they're words at the end of the day. If you don't like the words, but believe in why you think your side is right.
Yeah. And
it comes down to the yearning to be educated, the yearning to learn more about what it is you're fighting for and believing in. And, we have that mentality on sometimes I guess it seems like a smaller scale, but the utmost respect we've had for every single person that's been on the show with us because we got to learn about what their daily life is like. A lot of curveballs have come our way.
I've got like 3 quick things to kind of finish my side of this. And one is I started this even before we were recording when I texted you the other day and just said, I'm ready to talk. Let's fucking do it. I'm ready to go. I was fired up about all the stuff I was seeing from my own friends and people, not family, but friends on social media. And I was ready to call some people out. I do also want to take the other side of it. I want to call some people out that I was worried about going the other direction. Like you said, the celebration side of things and all that. So, cause I have some friends that are, I'm definitely on the left side of things. They're very, I wouldn't say extreme, but maybe I wouldn't call them radical, but they're pretty far over there on the left. And I was worried about their reaction, and I'm grateful because I actually sat and had a long talk with one of those people the other night. And they had the same kind of thought I did. They despise their words. I despise that man with every fiber of my being. He deserves to be here today. And I'm grateful for that. And I saw that a lot from my friends that are on the far left side of things. And so I'm grateful to that. The second thing is, as I said before, that Senator, what was his name? John Curtis from Utah, talking about taking the right and left out of the radical side of things. And I agree with that. And I'm not saying that the people I'm about to mention are radicals, but they are definitely on the far left side of things. I don't think Bernie Sanders is a bad man. I don't think AOC is a bad woman by any means, but I don't, for anybody that thinks I'm that far left leaning based on what I've said today, no, I don't go to that extreme. I don't believe in that. I'm the guy that grew up in Texas when Ann Richards was governor, and she's one of the, she was an amazing human being. I think a lot of people miss Ann Richards at this point. If you don't know who I'm talking about, go look her up. She was brilliant, but I don't want to see the extremes on either side. And then the final thing I'll bring up, we talked about the fact that, and it's been brought up billions of times over, when Charlie Kirk's life, is the fact that he was a college dropout, and people use that to demean him and all that. And again, I don't like the guy, but why are you using his college dropout as a demeaning thing? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I will say, to answer a lot of the questions that are happening, yes, we need to be educated. We need to learn. We need to do that. That doesn't mean college degrees make that happen.
No, education isn't a diploma hanging on your wall.
No. I mean, I've got one of those. You've got one of those. It doesn't mean anything at the end of the day when it comes to these conversations.
We got them, and we're dumb as hell.
I know. If there's one thing I'm not going to bemoan this guy about, it's the fact that he dropped out of college. Shit, I went to 5 different colleges, man. Who am I to talk?
What have I said to you since the day I met you? If it wasn't for hockey, I never would have went to college.
Yeah. So that means nothing. We do need to educate ourselves 100%, as much as possible. Educate yourself. I think the biggest issue, and I remember I had these conversations when I went back to school for the final time a few years ago at Missouri State. And I would have these conversations with my journalism professors, because that's my degree, journalism. I think mass media or something like that's my minor, but I don't even remember now, because again, it doesn't fucking matter. But I had these conversations because where do you go? Where do you go for? I mean, we joke about Steve at Agenda Free, and he's great, but he's not he's just showing stuff. He's not yes, he's a news source, but he's not giving opinions, and he's not doing this and that. He's just throwing stuff out there. I be the first to admit, and this will give me a lot of shit. I've mentioned this before. The only reason I still watch CNN, and I know a lot of people take that and run with it, is it's what I've always done. And there are people there that I trust, but I'm also smart enough to understand when I can even say to watching that going, yeah, okay, let's just back up a little bit. That doesn't sound fully right. But there are people on that channel that I still respect and will, kind of trust to watch. And even those people, I will say, okay, I'm going to take that with a little bit of grain of salt. There's also people on there that I don't trust as far as I can throw them. But the question I always had and I never got a good answer, because unfortunately there's not a good answer, is where do you go for that information? Where do you go to get the proper information? When we were growing up, it seemed easier, and maybe we were just naive, and we probably were.
And this is a very open-ended question. This is something I know people are not into the comments on here, but use the comments in here, because that's a real thing too. Is and I'm glad you brought this up, because in my head, the other thing I was thinking of is there's probably some things I said in this episode that are based off things I saw from news outlets on social media. Yeah. And it doesn't mean it's right. And it makes me think of the first couple hours after this happened, where you had the left media saying, oh, it was one of their supporters that fired a gun in celebration. And then the other one was jumping to who the shooter was and doing all this other kind of stuff. Immediately just throwing out whatever is going to feed the clicks.
Yep.
For them. And
forgive me for, I'm looking at my other screen right now, because there is one of the I'm trying to find it right now, because one of the, hopefully there's no volume here.
Yeah, but that's one of the things too, is if I've said anything that was disproven, I do apologize. I'm trying to keep up with the information on this as best as possible.
I hear that.
The other thing I'm going to say, while Cookie's pulling that up, the other thing I'm going to say is, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not going to follow that, I'm not political. I think it's time to be political, because this really does affect our very fiber of life here in our country. and it also affects of how we interact with other countries, other cultures, other societies. And you don't have to go extreme, but you do need to start kind of getting a knowledge of what's going on within our government.
And that goes back to educate yourself,
Yeah.
even if it's like one little thing at a time. If there's,
Yeah.
if something you're you know, especially, I will say this, and I don't know if you agree with this or not. I assume most people would, because it makes sense. Well, I mean, common sense. What am I saying? That's a dumb thing to say right now. Common sense. But local elections affect us way more than any federal election. Now, I will say that's generally been the case throughout most lifetimes. Right now, that maybe not so much, because what's happening at the federal level is definitely affecting all of us. But educate yourself on the local elections, what a certain candidate stands for. Don't look at whether or not they're a Republican or Democrat, independent, whatever. Don't like, and I know it's hard to do. Take that out of the equation. Go back and look at what they truly believe in, what they, because if they're worth their salt at all, they'll have a website that explains everything they've done. If they've already been in office, what they voted on, what they voted for, against, all that kind of stuff. Make your decisions on that. If it's a bill about legislation, or not a bill, but a vote about anything to where you have a say in something that's happening in your community, educate yourself on that and really understand, because your vote may not always follow along with what you think your political leaning is.
It's too bad they don't have a way to remove anybody from being allowed to say what party they represent and putting it on the bills and putting it in their stuff. Like, I know it's impossible,
Yeah.
but that would force people to listen to the words versus just say, "Oh, they're this, so I'm voting this." And
Well,
I've been guilty of that in past elections.
100%.
I'm like, "Oh, well, they're this."
I'll go back. And again, we're obviously, every time we say we're done, we're really not. If you haven't watched our show before, welcome to All Angles.
We'll be here another 3 hours, everybody.
Yeah. But let me put it to you this way. If you're curious about my political leanings, I don't mind saying it. I voted for George Bush, W, but I've also voted, and in hindsight, maybe not my best decision ever, for Bill Clinton. Not a big fan of the Clintons at all, and that ought to tell you something right there too. Absolutely loved Obama. Biden, I think, is a good man. I don't think he was the best we could have had at the time, but I do think he's a good man. And obviously, I was not voting for Donald Trump. But again, that is what I voted for George Bush. And I know I've got people that'll think I'm insane for doing that, but I thought he was the right guy at the right time. And he was the first president I ever voted for back in the day. But I did find what I was looking for. So Peter Santinello, I've talked about Peter Santinello on the show in the past. Has a really, really cool YouTube channel. And including right now, he's been doing shows from New York City area. I think his latest one from yesterday, day before, was in Staten Island.
Gross.
I haven't watched it yet.
I just mean Staten Island.
He actually, and I think this is a channel that sponsors him. So, hey, if you want to reach out, since we're talking about it, because it seems important, feel free to, as I'm about to say your name. But he talks about where to go find the news, and there's this thing called ground news. And what ground news does is it kind of collects everything. But what they do is they have this thing on the side they collect things from literally every network around the world, whether it's U.S. channels, BBC, Star, Sky News, it doesn't matter, all over the world. But they'll put up a thing on the side that says coverage details, and how, whatever the story is. The one he's pulled up here as an example, I don't even know what it's about. It doesn't matter. But it says total news sources on this particular story, 136 news sources. Leaning left, 42. Leaning right, 19. Center, 27. So
I see that. I saw they have a like an L and a C, I guess, for liberal and
Yeah.
conservative, and you can see kind of where the
you can kind of get, and if you find the right ones that are pretty centered and balanced, I think that's the way to go, obviously. The one he's showing, I don't know what, I can't tell what, anyways, it doesn't matter. But yeah, ground news is, if you want to start somewhere. And I don't know if that's the be all end all. And if Ground News wants to reach out to us and let us know. And again, this is that's kind of a shameless thing for me to throw out there as far as trying to get some sponsorship. But
I'm about to do it too.
But the reality is, it's it's kind of what we've been talking about. Is where do you go find proper news? And I would go through multiple journalism classes at Missouri State with some pretty badass professors, and there wasn't a good answer to that question because it doesn't necessarily exist, because every single outlet out there leans one way or the other. And while our guy Steve on Agenda Free,
I love that guy.
I love that guy. And,
Breaking news.
Oh, he's great, and he doesn't lean. At least from what I can tell, he just kind of puts it out there. He doesn't lean one way or the other.
He just talks about what he's seeing.
Well, he's just talking about what he's seeing. Exactly right, which is great. I'm not sure that's the answer, and maybe
you're not learning anything, because he's also.
And I think that's. And I don't want to slight
the show.
Yeah, and I don't want to slight what he does, because he's great, and I'd love to get him on here to talk about his thoughts on that very thing. Like where do you go? Like where does he go? But he uses many sources, and based on what he was, I mean, I don't know about you, I was watching him a lot during the Charlie Kirk coverage.
Yeah.
And I learned listening to him talk that he is, well, definitely somewhat, and again, Steve, you're not watching this, but if you happen to be, I don't want to, demean you in any way, but he is at some level an accredited member, because he's getting direct emails from AP and Reuters, and I know there's a way for all of us to do that, but I got the impression he's getting like the actual, the ones that you have to be an accredited media member to get.
Well, and for him, especially with the amount of people, like he's turning into an actual news outlet, because he's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Anytime you're on there, it's like 30,000 people watching his live and tipping and donating. Like, he's got people coming to him versus anywhere else.
Yeah. Why am I not subscribed? I just realized I'm not even subscribed to his channel, but I watch it all the time.
I don't think I am either. I just think it pops right up.
As we're asking people to subscribe to ours, we've talked about you many times, and neither of us are subscribed. Yeah, we're pricks. We get it. Sorry, Steve.
We're pricks, but we're real fans.
We're 100% fans. Yes. Well, let's just for example, he had a stream 21 hours ago. Again, more Charlie Kirk discussion, or well, with him, it's not discussion. It's just.
I mean, the other day he streamed like 2 12-hour, like I think it was like a 12-hour and then another 6 hours after that. Like he
had an 11-hour and 30-minute show 3 days ago, and he had 1 million views on that. Yeah.
Eat that, Travis Kelce.
He had holy crap. Yeah, he had a 4 hour, he had 11.5-hour show, a 4.5-hour show, a 6.5-hour show, 9-hour show, and all these are like million views, 630,000 views. Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
And you're looking at the post live views, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So Steve, I'm now subscribed. So Steve, if you want to come on the show and talk about this, I am subscribed to your channel now. I'm sorry for being an asshole and not doing that ahead of time.
And I wish I got $10 for every time I said to wrap this up or closing out.
We do need to wrap it up, though, yes.
I'd be pulling up to wherever I'm going in like a fancy tour bus in my private jet. But the other side I want to talk about is we talk so much about mental health and processing what you're going through. This is not a plug. It's a site I used during COVID that was extremely helpful to me. It's a site called BetterHelp.com. You'll see they advertise in a lot of places. A lot of people are afraid of therapy. They take your insurance. They also will take regular payments for it. But the coolest thing about BetterHelp.com is I was able to go through like 4 or 5 different therapists before I found one that I felt like I connected with. And they're all licensed therapists. You're not talking to somebody who's a good friend. Like you're talking to somebody who's there. And when I found that one therapist I liked, like I could immediately feel differences in how I was processing things. And I plugged them, and not only because I used it and liked it, but because there's just a lot of people out there that are they're maybe feeling ashamed or embarrassed to say they want to go and get help. There's other people that might not quite realize they need help. I know what that feeling is like, and you're like, you don't really know. So even just to kind of give it a try. but it's something you can do on your own from your laptop or from your phone. You can actually do FaceTime calls with them. You can do just text sessions if you needed to. And while the world is going through a pretty tense time right now, if you're feeling unsure, unstable, or anything like that, and you just feel like you need an outlet, doing something like that, or if you know a therapist, like reach out to them and get involved with taking care of yourself and improving your own standards of life for yourself. Because I think I've said it before, you're not going to be a lot of good to anybody else if you're not even any good to yourself.
Yep.
And so these are things that I take great pride in, and I struggle on a lot of days. There's been times where I know I told Cookies, like, I'm just not feeling great today. And if I say I'm not feeling great, it's not because I'm sick, because Athena came to work sick and got me sick. But there's days where I'm just not feeling great because my brain is just not firing the way it's supposed to. And then it'll trigger whatever emotions I have coming up on those days. And it's funny, as much as I love to pretend to be super tough and we're big bad hockey guys. I mean, I did open the show talking about how I was sobbing at the new LornaShore song. So emotions are a real thing, and it's okay to have them. It's okay to get riled up. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to be scared. And it's okay to be going through hard times. Just take care of yourself. And, you know, BetterHelp is the easiest access. BetterHelp.com is the easiest access site that I know of to do such a thing. So that's it's a real important thing. It's something that Cookie knows that I've been very adamant about for the last few years. A lot of people that follow the TikTok page did so because of my Mental Health Monday posts, which I haven't done a lot because I'm doing like it's usually Sunday night is when I'm doing an editing thing for this show. But honestly, doing the show has helped me feel pretty good. And so
we talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it just makes me feel pretty good because we get to talk about so much, and it's a sense of feeling productive and learning and accomplished. And, you know, so it's when you're feeling good, the downside is this is why I'll never be a therapist. The downside of when you're feeling good, it's kind of hard to think about things that people might be going through. And if the times where I was feeling good and did a post, it's because someone's like, hey, I'm going through this. I was like, okay, I could talk about that. But yeah, honestly, I know this hasn't been as much of a goofball material that Cookie and I are pretty accustomed to doing, and we didn't have the guest, but you know, we thrive on bringing humanity back. And I think once we can embrace humanity, we can make some pretty impressive strides in the right direction, regardless of your political affiliation.
More hockey, less politics.
You know what's funny, Cookie, you bastard? Last week I said something, and you're like, oh, we do enough hockey on here. And here he is, Mr. Hockey on his shirt.
What are you talking about? I never said that.
I'm pretty sure that was said.
It wasn't me. I think you're talking about somebody else.
What other shows do I do, Cookie?
Oh, you're talking about on the show?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I legitimately don't remember that conversation.
It happened. I only know it because I'm pretty sure I just saw it somewhere. But
yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Because I'm wearing a hockey hat.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch again because I legit don't know what you're talking about.
Hello, 2 more views on our last episode. But
all right,
let's be human to each other, everybody. Let me tell you, I promise it's going to make a vast improvement in your life. Please comment, like, and subscribe. I want to hear what people think, but do your best to leave the hate out of this. You know, let's open the floor to discussion with each other and come to better understanding. I think it's just really the best thing we can do.
Yes, be kind to one another, please. That's the best thing I can think of at this point. Be human. I mean, I could throw all the phrases out there I can, but the best thing I could say is just be kind to one another and be kind to yourself. So
thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys. Love you all 20 of you that actually watch. Our friends and family. I don't like you guys because you don't watch.
Next week's episode, passive aggressiveness.
We're always going to end very passive aggressive. Our friends and family who don't watch, you're dead to us.
To our friends and family that do watch, I want to be actively aggressive because it's insulting and it hurts my feelings. So
yeah, we do. We love you all. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.